Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending upon where you are. It's Tom from Came to Believe Recovery here on our weekly Friday live stream, Recovery Live. I want to welcome everybody to the show. We got a really great, really special show for you guys today, and we have lots of special guests on with us. Um, we are honoring Dr. Liz Rogers, who is one of the longest um, running leaders and Came to Believe from years and years, far before my time. And actually, I think she was at the first retreat of most everybody that's on this. She precedes everyone that's coming on this live stream today. But we have 5 guests coming on who are going to share stories about Dr. Liz. She is well known worldwide and in the recovery community across Came to Believe, has helped thousands of people, maybe tens of thousands. She's been to hundreds of retreats. I was probably at 100 of them with her. I've heard her speak at least 100 times. We traveled maybe more over 15 or 20 years. And so has everyone else on this video. It's going to be really interesting, guys. Join us as we honor Liz today. Sandy, I'm glad that you're on. Dee, great, from England. We have Kentucky on with us today. England on so far. Let's wait till we see Las Vegas will come on. We know they'll all come on. And one special thing we're going to do today, guys, is we're going to give away, in honor of Liz, a virtual retreat ticket, one attendance for the virtual retreat. So we're going to use our same entry word like we did for our t-shirt giveaway, which is #recovered. So if you put #recovered in the comments, you will be entered in to win the free virtual retreat ticket, which is for the 6th through the 8th. The virtual retreat run 6th through the 8th of January. And yes, it's transferable. So if you win it and you want to give that ticket to somebody else, that will be fine. You'll get a link to it. So it'll be a giveaway for the virtual retreat in honor of Liz. We're going to tell a whole bunch of stories, and instead of starting with them right now, I want to start really with bringing our first guest on, first guests actually, who are going to talk a little bit of history about Liz. They probably have known her longer than the rest of us on here. Somebody will correct me if that's not true. And let's get the show started. And I want to bring on Steve and Sue Foreman.
Hey, everybody. My name is Steve Foreman, a very grateful recovered alcoholic.
Hi, Steve.
And I guess I'm Sue Foreman, and I'm totally also a grateful earthling.
A grateful earthling. All right.
Grateful earthling.
Sometimes they call us normies, but we're totally not normal.
The time I met Liz first was in 1979. The first retreat I went to in March of 1979, it was a Clarence Snyder retreat. It was held at Brandon, Florida, in a very Spartan location with 10, 12 people in one room, etc., sleeping. But that was the first time I ran into Liz, and Harold Hill was with her. The two of them wrote lots of books, How to Live Like a King's Kid, How to Live in High Victory, The Power to Change. And so Liz was Harold's secretary, and they did a lot of authoring of books. Additionally, Liz, from 1979 until probably our last Leesburg retreat in 2020 or 2021, attended, as Tom said, hundreds of retreats. She was our featured speaker on Friday night, did her family bottle talk, which is an awesome emotional experience for opening up a retreat. And she was a lead member of our show and very active. So she traveled with us extensively to open up new retreats. In 1993, a gentleman from England named Paul Doyle had come to one of our retreats in Leesburg. He said, let's go, I want to do this over here in England. So in 1993, myself, Sue, Annette Nelson, and Liz went to Buckfast Abbey and enjoyed the first retreat in England. now there are 12, 15 different retreats in England. We went with Kim Spencer to open up Ireland. Someone attended that retreat in England, said, we got to do this in Ireland. So the four of us, myself, Kim Spencer, Sue, and Liz went to Ireland. They liked it so much, let's go to Scotland. So there we went with Kathy Walker, Liz Rogers, Steve, and Sue. So Liz carried the message as better than anybody I know, and more often, and more direct and to the point. She
In
even
more places.
a message to Russia. And so I just am in awe of her continued support of the Came to Believe retreats, of her abilities to communicate. She taught us how to pray. She taught us how to how to live like a king's kid was what she called her session at our retreats for steps 11, 10, 11, and 12. She spoke again and again about how wonderful this program was, and I'm just honored to have known her. There are lots of stories I could tell about miracles that have happened in our life because of Liz Rogers, and I'm so grateful for her, and look forward to seeing her again. I hope in the near future, and that we're continue to be involved in retreat formation. She's been to California. We opened California up. She's been to Wisconsin. She's been to New Jersey. Anytime a new
Arizona.
retreat was started, there's Liz. She's got her family of bottle family, we called it, and that explained perfectly the members of an alcoholic family. And we're so grateful for everything she's done, everything she's doing, and ask for God's blessing on her.
Thanks, Steve. And guys, just so you guys know, it's December 7th was her 50-year anniversary. It was December 7th, 2 days ago.
2 days
So
ago.
50 years of sobriety. I think she was the most dedicated person of all of us. She's probably been to more consistent retreats over 30 or 40 years than any of us.
No question about
No
it.
question.
She was a trooper. Have bag packed, ready to go anywhere, ready to carry the message.
So on the bag packed, can I go back to where we met her the first time? When I met her the first time was not at the Camp Florida, but when she came to the house. Because in those days, we often stayed at other people's houses when we traveled. We didn't check in hotels all that often. So she comes to the house and we're sitting down and I'm trying to get to know her. And at that time, remember, it's the early 80s. We don't even have a woman Supreme Court justice, and women are pretty invisible. And she's traveling with Hal Hill, and they're calling her the secretary. Well, she's really a co-author, and she is absolutely brilliant at taking complex things and putting it into these cute little memorable things, like King's Kid. And so I'm just chatting with her, talking about different places. Well, she was so excited to have her own room. Her own room in the house. And so she's telling me about these other places that she goes. Everybody says hello to Hal Hill because he's a big guy, tall guy, very engineering, and the prime author. And she says, in one place she goes, they didn't expect her. Maybe Hal didn't mention it, or maybe that she's just invisible, but they didn't have a room for her. So they got to open the laundry room and they put the ironing board down in the ground because she's kind of petite, folded it down and put a sheet over it and said that was her bed. And, she's all of her facilities aren't that great, but that's under the category. She goes to Siberia. She goes to the laundry room and sleeps on an ironing board. And all the time she is absolutely humble, determined to teach. She's an excellent teacher. She is so courageous and patient and forgiving. And that's, of course, the second thing, of course, is that she taught me was how to really get connected in prayer, so that I didn't feel like I was just reading something off the wall and that it was all happening inside of me, but that she just had a way of teaching us how to truly connect to the spiritual realm so that we felt connected to something much bigger than ourselves. She was fabulous. She is fabulous. She's still fabulous. She's still sponsoring women. She's 95. In February, 95. She'll be 96 in February. And she is still sponsoring, and the other thing is, she always felt that you were teaching her things. She always made you feel as if you were sharing yourself with her. She got her PhD when she was 85 years old, 12 years ago, I guess, in 2007, however long ago that is. That's when she became Dr. Liz. That so opened up our whole message about, Steve picked up that thing about 6 extra hours that you have now that you're not drinking those extra hours. Why don't you put it to good use and go back to school? And of course, Liz had set the example for that by getting her PhD at the age of 85. Fabulous. She's fabulous.
Thanks, guys, for your testimony. Will you stay on here with us when we get to the open chat time and hang with us?
You betcha.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, hang in there. So, guys, we're getting ready to bring on another couple. I want to just share a couple of stories in between that were sent in by us, by some of our other leaders around the country. So we weren't able to have everybody on, but we one of the testimonies was sent in by John and Carol Z from New Jersey, who John talks about Liz was at his first retreat ever. Like I said, she was at a lot of ours first retreats ever, and then went on to help him every single year at the Schoolies Mountain Retreat. Again, like I said, she showed up everywhere, guys. And he was so honored and is still honored that of all that she did for him. And he says he'd be honored to carry her bags anywhere. She came diligently every year. And I remember her coming to dinners at our family house. It was always my birthday, the Schoolies Mountain weekend, and would come and have dinner along with Dale and Stephanie, who are my next guests. I'd love to bring Dale and Stephanie Barker from Christmas, Florida on. Well, there's Stephanie and Dale. How you guys doing today?
Hey, everybody.
Another beautiful day in the South.
Dale and Stephanie and I, along with Kim and Stephen Sue and a few others, did a lot of the traveling with Liz over 20 or 30 years, depending upon who you're talking to. But we've all had some really great shared experiences. But we're going to let Stephanie and Dale talk about some of their experiences with Dr. Liz.
Go ahead,
Good
Stephanie.
deal. You can go first, honey.
Okay. Well, we traveled with Liz all over this country. A lot of times the retreat up in New Jersey, we would fly into Baltimore where Stephanie's family lived and get a rental car and drive her up there. 3.5 hours in the worst traffic I've ever experienced in my life. But it was something that it was the right thing to do. You know, she needed to be there. We learned so much just from traveling with her and hanging out with her. And when I was new, I didn't really have a lot of respect for older people. But when I went to retreat, I started hanging around with people with the gray hair. And I never stopped doing that. You know, if you look around the screen, a lot of us have gray hair now. And now people want to hang around with us. So, you know, Liz, there was a really funny story. Liz was she was a math teacher, right? So she was very orderly, very smart, very structured in everything she did. So one time she comes to, we get a phone call. We're going out to a meeting or something on a Saturday night. It's raining. On a Thursday night, it's raining in my pickup truck. And Steve and Sue called, and Liz has come to the retreat a week early. And we got to go pick her up at the airport. And we got to put her in our house and keep her because they're out of town. And she always stayed at their house, and they, you know, took really good care of her. So she really loved staying there. So she had to stay at our house. We picked her up. She handled it like a champ. But we both had to work that weekend. And so she was home in our house alone all weekend because her flight back was Monday. And there was nothing to do. We lived on a dirt road in the country with no cable. She was like, stir crazy being alone in that house all the time. And all she could do was watch the animals outside, and our neighbors raised goats, and the male goat taking care of the lady goats. That's what she got to watch. And it was always just a funny story when she would tell it, it would crack everybody up. But she never stayed at our house again, just to let you know. She never made that mistake again. But she taught me so much about being, not being a victim, of standing up for myself and having boundaries, and not being manipulated, and being in the Word and knowing the truth, and how the truth makes you free if you know the truth. And that's what we offer at Came to Believe. It's an opportunity to do the steps the way the founders did them. And it's been an amazing a time knowing Liz and experiencing and learning from her. And it was really, Stephanie, did you have something too, right?
Yeah. One of the funny stories that always comes to my mind is, again, when we were traveling to the New Jersey retreat, we used to stay at the extended stay hotel, and we drove from the hotel to the New Jersey retreat, and we would do that each night. Well, one of the day she was supposed to speak and do her presentation, she has a presentation that she does that's called The Bottle Family. And the Bottle Family is a bunch of bottles, and there's Wino Willie and Wilhelmina, and you can see the picture up there, and that's Mom and Dad. Well, those are the only two bottles that she remembered to bring for this particular presentation that she was to do at the New Jersey retreat. So we get there, and right before she's to go on, she realizes she hasn't brought all the kids for the Bottle Family. So we're brainstorming, and she says, we're just going to have to use live people. And we ran around and got people to play the parts and the roles of the kids for the Bottle Family. And it was a riot. It was just so much fun. And it went so very well that she did it at Leesburg, which is that picture that's up now. She did it at the Leesburg retreat, and she brought all the bottles for that one, but she went ahead and did it with live people because it went over so well, using the real people. And she did that a couple of times, and Kim got to be in that also at one point for the live Bottle Family. But her presentation of the Bottle Family and how alcoholism is a family disease, it just opened up a whole new level in my recovery journey for me, hearing that talk. And even though I must have heard it, 100, 200 times, she would always say something new and different about it that really struck in my heart. I see a lot of people that have made comments about Liz being their sponsor. She sponsored me now for 24 years. And she said to me once, she said, I know I'm hard on you, but I'm not here to nurture your weakness, only your strengths. And I love you, Liz, for that. I really love you so much for that, Liz. And one time we flew into JFK Airport for a retreat, and my luggage got lost. And I did what Liz taught me to do. I got rid of what she likes to refer to as plum, which is poor little old me, because here my luggage is lost. And I was like, I thought I could get all whiny about it. So I had to get rid of the plum, like she taught me to do, by thanking God in all things. That's what she's always taught me to do. So while in this process of doing that, I come across a person that, lo and behold, I could carry the message of recovery to while I'm in this situation. But before we left the airport without my luggage, I could see in Liz's eyes, I could see in your eyes, Liz, how proud you were of me for turning a misfortunate situation into a golden opportunity. And, in sponsorship, we don't always get to see the fruits of our labor or the satisfaction of a job well done in our sponsor's eyes. But I remember how good that day made both Liz and I feel. And although I'm not sure how much it helped Dale.
Well, Wednesday was the 7th, December 7th. And that was Liz's 50th anniversary, and I was led to go on Amazon and find her a chip and send it to her, so that she would know how much that I was thinking about her. And the gentleman that runs the Amazon site on Amazon actually sent it at his cost, overnighted it to make sure she got it in time. And I thought, wow, how cool is that? You know, that's what a King's kid. That's the kind of treatment Liz would expect. You know, I thought that was really cool. But she would always say this in her story that December 7th was her anniversary, and it was the last time she got bombed. So, you know, Pearl Harbor Day, you know, sober person. So that was always she always had that sense of humor too with everything she did. She would bring in things like that would make you laugh, and I really am just really grateful to know her and have been able to sit at her side and learn from her.
And I think we all have that. So I'm so glad that you mentioned that, Stephanie, about she would tell you the hard stuff. She was not a coddler. You know, if you had to hear it, she'd tell you about it. So, you know, those stories are so great. There's one other story I'm reminded of that you guys were at. It was one of the retreats in New Jersey. And oftentimes, if you guys are in the audience, we, especially when we travel, we'd add a couple of days on wherever we went. We've been in California, and there's stories of us traveling in California, too many to tell. And Liz was always on these trips when we went on travel a couple extra days and go do some stuff. Well, one of the times when she was in here in New Jersey with us, we decided to go into New York City and do some sightseeing in New York City. And one of the things we did was we were in Little Italy, and we went to an Italian restaurant. And Stephanie and Dale and I and Liz, and I don't know if there was someone else there. There we are. Very young in that picture, Dale, you and I, right? And it was an open air, actually. And throughout the dinner, we had agreed on something. However, we had agreed, one of us was going to pay, and Liz was going to pay the tip. So I ended up paying the bill, and in the confusion, we got up and we walked out, and we got 2 or 3 blocks away, and Liz remembered that she didn't pay the tip. So, and, you know, she looked in her face. So I got to kidding her, and I said, Liz, that's like an Italian restaurant in Little Italy, New York, run by the mafia. I said, and I still remember the blank look on her face with her mouth open, like, because, you know, Liz didn't want to do anything wrong. She never would do something like that on purpose. Worrying about and watching behind her back for the rest of that trip to see if the hitman was coming to put those cement shoes on her. That was a really fun day, guys. I remember that. And that was quite a joke when she forgot to pay the tip. We still remember that today. And that was probably 20 years ago.
Yeah, that was a great day.
Tom, you remember that time we went to Utah?
I'm sure.
And we went to Bryce Canyon after the retreat, and we're all celebrating how beautiful this place is. And then we look at the pictures afterwards of Liz, and she had lost a lens in her glasses, and one of the lenses turned dark. So it was like she had an eye patch on. Yep, there it is. There's the picture right there.
Oh my God.
And she didn't appreciate me talking like a pirate to her at all. I mean,
I remember that
at all. But she just carried on like it was no big deal.
Right. That glass turned dark when it was in the sun. So for the day before, she'd been wearing those glasses, and none of us knew that she lost the lens because the glass until she stepped out in the dark. And John Metcalf could hardly stand up. He was laughing so hard about that. I remember that day. There was other stories. That was great, guys. Just so many stories and so much love for her and so much admiration and honor for what she's done in our program. I mean, she dwarfs anything that we've done, I think. And we've all been mentored by her. We've all learned from her, and we've taught her, as she would say, some things. It's just such an honor to be able to talk about her for a whole hour plus today. I want to bring on another one of our longtime Came to Believe leaders who probably has been to same retreats, as many retreats as some of us have been. And she can tell us if Liz was at her first retreat. She probably was too. To tell us a couple of her stories of traveling with her, because Kim Spencer traveled with Liz extensively around the country and around the world. So I'd love to bring Kim on.
All right.
Hi, Kim. How are you today?
Good. How you doing?
I'm good. Good.
Awesome. Well, since you brought it up, Actually, I was too stubborn to go to the whole retreat on my first retreat, so I missed Friday night. But my
Right.
second retreat is when I met Liz, and been a fast friend ever since. She's just an amazing person. She just is. What an awesome. Yeah, I don't know. I can't even think of words about what she's meant to me in my life, and taught me about God, and gone to the Came to Believe retreats as well. At Leesburg for a long time, it was just Leesburg and Wisconsin were the only two retreats that we had. So it was, every May and every November in Leesburg. So I couldn't wait to see her when she would come. Over the years, we've taught each other, right? And we've taught each other how to minister to other people, because that's what her lifelong goal was, is to help other people get free. My mind just went blank, but I just have so much honor and praise for her ability to teach Jesus to people. I know for me, it's been awesome. How I really got to know Liz, of course, I've been to all different kinds of retreats with her, but when you get to travel with her, that's when you really get to, I've got to spend time with her in Ireland. We went to Ireland. You want to talk about somebody that is relentless. Okay, Liz's hip wasn't working, and she was going to go to Ireland. So I carted Liz around in a wheelchair all the way through Dublin, through all around where Stephen, Sue, and I went with Liz, but she was going to go. And it was just an awesome time with her. And we roomed together. So we spent a lot of time praying with each other. Like every night we'd get together in the room and we would just pray. And, one night, Liz was talking to me and she asked me to pray for her. She was having a really hard time keeping up with all us young folks, but she wasn't going to really let anybody know that. She's just so resilient. You all know what I'm talking about with her. And so we were praying, and she goes, well, I would do a workshop at the retreat where it was called the Experiencing the Father's Embrace. And she wouldn't come to the one at retreat because she had her King's Kid right before that. And she would, need to go take a lay down right afterwards. So she goes, well, tell me what you do in there. So we got talking, and she goes, oh, you pray for me like that. Well, at that time, I prayed for her, and Jesus brought up a time when she was a little girl, and it was a Christmas time. And I don't think she'd mind me sharing this because, it was just such an honor to pray with her, and it was such an honor to watch what Jesus did with her. So we were in the room praying, and she had a memory come back. And it was a real hard memory for her at Christmas time. And it's just appropriate because this is Christmas time. Right? And she had remembered her mother, her stepmother, and her father were fighting and arguing, and somebody had knocked down the Christmas tree, and they're fighting and arguing, and Liz had a really hard time with Christmas, and at that time she said she was sitting on a couch, and she was sitting on the couch she was a little girl in her living room. And so I just asked her to look around and look for Jesus. And she saw him, and he came up and he picked her up. And now for years and years and years, she had a hard time with Christmas because of that old memory that she had. And Jesus just at that moment just healed her from that memory. And she was just so amazed. So she just started praying like that more and more. And she shared with me over the years how she was now teaching other people how to come see Jesus, that he's going to heal them. And, and if it weren't for the retreat, we would have never been able to share that with each other, because we went to Dublin to start a brand new retreat. And it was just such an honor to be with her. And it was such an honor to watch Jesus heal her up too. And so after that, every time, which were many of them, we went to Utah, we went to New York, we went to, there's two in New Jersey. But, I'm just going to share one that I didn't plan to share, but you guys brought it to my memory. So I went to New Jersey retreat only one time, and Vicki had put me in a room at the retreat center. right? And so the next day on Friday night, I stayed there, and it was really hard because I had to share a bathroom with 8 women. It was like really hard.
Mhm.
And so the next morning, I saw Liz and Stephanie and Dale coming in. I go, "Where'd y'all go?" And Liz goes, "We get a hotel room." So, oh, I wish you would have told me. So that night, guess what? I got a hotel room. Yeah, it's like, but I just wanted to share that. And so the other thing, the other story that I really wanted to share about, which really helped change my life. Now, obviously we've spent every retreat I would go to that Liz and I were both at, we would always set aside time to pray with each other and just to lift each other up in prayer. And those moments mean so much to me. It's like, and usually on Sunday we're praying for everybody else, but sometimes we just need prayer for ourselves. And, Liz would pray for me and I would pray for her, and we would just, get in the spirit and be with the Lord. And that's what gave us the energy and ability to go pray for all the other people we were praying for. So the other thing I wanted to share was I got in a really bad car accident in 2016, which has totally changed my life. I wasn't able to continue to do the things that I was doing before because I got rear-ended by a semi on the interstate, and it took a lot out of me. And I was having a really hard time with the things that transpired after that. So I went to Liz's house and I wanted her to pray with me because I was starting to get depressed and so I got to her house, and the whole time, Liz, let's just pray. Well, Liz wouldn't pray. She wasn't praying with me. She was, let's go do this. Let's go do that. Let's go do other things. And then we woke up in the morning and she said, here, we're going to do our 11th step. And so what she did is she put on a video of Andrew Wommack. She goes, this is what I do for my 11th step every day, and I'm going to share this with you. Well, I was kind of a little put off by her. I'm like, listen, I watch some prayer. I don't want to watch some TV evangelists on TV. And what happened was when she introduced me to Andrew Wommack Ministries, and I'm graduating from his Bible college in May, and his teaching has changed my life. And if I hadn't met Liz at Came to Believe, I would never be there either. So Liz, I just want, if you're watching and you're listening, I just want to thank you for all the love and grace that you've given all of us all through the years, and just how much you have taught us about the Lord and how to live this program every day of our lives. And none of us have had to go back and pick up a drink because of these 12 steps. And I just want to thank you so much.
Thanks, Kim. Thanks for those great stories. Yeah. Listen, stay with us. Stay with us backstage. We're going to play a video now that I think some of our people are saying, who is this Liz Rogers? Who doesn't know who she is? She was so diligent about all those things. Those are great stories. A bunch of those, I don't know, Kim, and why would I? But that one about Christmas was very interesting. I never heard that story. But we have a 6-minute video slideshow that we want to show you guys. And this is in memory or in honor of everything that Liz has done in her 50 years.
Is not only from the heart, a dear friend, but she knows a great deal about recovery. She lives it, she practices it, and she's great. I love her. So I would like to introduce to you tonight Dr. Liz Rogers. I love her.
Right, my name is Liz Rogers, and I too am a recovered alcoholic. And I've come here tonight to tell you what your problem is. Didn't expect that, did you? dangerous, very dangerous. As a matter of fact, it's like, well, let's say you have a teenage son, and for some ungodly reason, he has a pet snake in a cage, and he feeds live mice to it. But let's just picture that. And one morning you come downstairs, and the cage is open, and the snake is gone, and you don't know where it is. And you keep looking at it, looking for it, all over, all day long. You go about your business, but the snake, where is that snake? Because if he comes out and bites you, too bad for you. You're a goner. So where is that snake? All day long. You walk on eggs because you never know what a snake will do. And let's say the next day you do the same thing. He's gone. Where is he? Has he died? Is he in a car accident? Is he drinking again? What is it? And the next day, total disaster in your emotions. And let's say you just keep that up day after day after day. What kind of life are you living? Walking on eggs. That's what you're doing. Well, that's what happens when you live with an addict. Now, I must tell you that everybody in an alcoholic household, whether they're alcoholics or not, they're the family, all of them, every one of them, is a terrific liar. And they all have two faces. Everything in this family has to do with the game. What is the game? Well, it's a dumb game. I mean, it is so stupid that you wonder why they play it all the time, because nobody's won. But they love playing that game. What's the game? Well, Daddy drinks as much as he can without letting Wilhelmina know. And Wilhelmina tries to find out, tries to find the bottles and throw them out and keep Willie from drinking. That's the game. And you say, that is really stupid. Well, it is, but they've been playing it for years.
Wow, fantastic. I can't hardly keep, allergies are coming inside here in New Jersey today. So touched by that video. I hope you were too. That was a real good slideshow about who Liz was. If you didn't know her, that was her. Everybody remember, put that hashtag recovered in the comment section to get your shot at winning the virtual retreat ticket. I'd like to bring everybody back on now. All of our guests come back on. See if we can get everybody back in.
Very nice.
There we go. Excellent. Yeah. And I want to, yes, shout out to Lisa from behind the scenes, our wizard behind
Yeah.
this.
Hey, Lisa.
Beautiful video.
Great
Beautiful
job.
video together.
Well
and
done.
There's another one at the end. We have some time now, guys. I know that we all shared some great stories and we all had so many great experiences. Let's just take a few minutes and fill in the gaps. What else what did we forget? What did we, anything else come up about Liz that we want to talk about?
I'd like
I
to
will,
talk
I will say this, a miracle happened with Liz and Hal Hill at our house, which I won't go into the story, but the end summary of it was Harold Hill said, let's go anoint that place. And so Liz, myself, Sue, we call the manager of the business, opened up. It was a surgery center, one of the first built in Orlando. And the Harold said, bring along some oil. And so we anointed the building, the chairs, the computer, the operating rooms, everything, and prayed that if the devil was present because we were losing our shirts, that he'd be gone. Within 2 days, 3 people quit, which were an act of God. But lastly, within the week, a surgeon came over and said, hey, I think I can raise 40 or 50 people up to become your partner. What will you do? And so we pursued that, but it was an unbelievable experience. And since that time, you come to my office, I can show you crosses over doors, show you them at my office, my home, my car. She taught me anyway, and many of us, to anoint our belongings, anoint our checkbook. That if we're suffering financially, pray over your checkbook and turn it over to Jesus. But she was phenomenal in her prayer warriorship. No one I know approaches what she was able to contribute to our lifestyle and all. And she also taught us how to project our voices. She was a big speaker. And when someone was whispering at the microphone, they'd get a lesson on how to speak and how to transmit your voice to the back of the room and not just to yourself. So anyway, quick sharing of that.
Well, I wanted to just share about the King's Kid. How many years did she do that? For 2 hours every Saturday, she would teach us how to pray, teach us what the Bible scriptures said, where they came from, where the steps came from. But the one that, really impacted me a lot was when she would say, speak to your mountain, and she would get up. And I remember after her hip surgery, right, when she would just jump up and down and say, I am healed. And what an encouragement she's to all of us with that, right? Like, speak to your mountain. Don't, sickness is not from God, it's from the enemy, including alcoholism and addiction, right? They're all right there. And how many of us teach that to the new people that, come into the fold? The same thing is speak to that mountain, speak to that pain, and that, I'll know, it's in the word, but she was my first word that I heard say that. I go, what do you mean? What do you mean? Speak to your mountain, right?
So Liz, we all have experienced with her, as she was so good at that kind of advanced recovery. Once we got recovered, and she helped us advance in our step 11 and do all these things like Kim and Steve and all are talking about. But she was also committed to the program to meet that newcomer right where they were at and make sure that they did their steps first, and never wanted to overshadow the fact that you could skip the steps. She knew that the steps were the key for the alcoholic, the addict, the broken, to get those set of tools to let them go off and, as we say today, live their 10, 11, and 12. She would preach that stuff when she was at retreats, when she was working with newcomers. She could meet those newcomers right where they were, as
every time,
just like the best of us. She was so good at being able to meet her how she did and meet them right where they were at. It was very impressive.
And
isn't
the
the
new
first-
edge on this recovery that in the world, they're looking at the trauma of young people and how that affects their addiction and how difficult it is for them to center themselves. So they use drugs in order to do that at all level. And she was teaching that in the Bible, in the Bottle family,
Mhm.
20 years ago. And all of this new stuff that's coming out of California, the Body Keeps the Score, that's an 8-year-old book. But she was doing the Bottle family, talking about the damage done to the family members, the rattlesnake thing that we just saw. When you walk around and your nerves are that frayed all the time, it affects your health and it affects everything. She was teaching that 20 years without all the science that now proves that she was right. So she didn't always, she always found a way to tell the story in a story. It was just fun and her humor.
Well, it's like the 4th step, right? I mean, this is a spiritual dilemma that we deal with, isn't it? And the newcomers, we come in and we try to deal with addiction in a natural way, and it just doesn't work. And that's what's so unique about the way that we do the 4th step, is that we address that spiritually, so that things can get lifted up, so we can advance in our understanding of spiritual things. It's unique how we do the 4th step. I mean, I go to other places. I'm sponsoring people from like other places I'm not going to mention, but I'm like, okay, so take a year to do the steps. Oh my God, I did that. I took 5 years. I almost died. So like, I thank God that we found this, but it's so imperative to know that this is a spiritual program, and that's what Liz taught us, was that how this is a spiritual program, and that we're not battling with flesh and blood, that it's spiritual in nature.
Yeah, we live today in 10, 11, and 12, and
yes,
traveling with her showed me how to do that, because she would actually take personal inventory, and when she was wrong, she would probably admit it. I mean, she was very good at it. And then I always remember her favorite scripture. To me, it's the one I remember, Jeremiah 33:3, which is, call to me and I will answer you and tell you great and unsearchable things that you do not know. So that's the 11th step. We're supposed to talk to God and get this or what we need every day from Him, things we don't know, and then we have something to give.
Well, and can't we just go through the first 9 in a very short period of time? We don't have to go for a year. We do it in an afternoon, or over the weekend. We just do the steps, and then we live in that 10, 11, and 12. Where we're seeking God more. But those first 9, well, 9 is actually really a God step, right? I mean, we really can't do that over a virtual or weekend or over a weekend. But the rest of them, we just get them through it, because how long, like Clarence said, how long do you want to stay sick?
Right.
We don't want to take a year to do it. We can do it quickly. And then it's living it, right? Living that 10, 11, and 12 every day.
That's it. If any of you are listening and you don't know what we're talking about, like Kim was saying, what we do at Came to Believe Retreats, Came to Believe Recovery Retreats, is we take you through the steps just the way the founders did it. We do it in a really short period of time. Right now, we do it over the weekend. When you leave that weekend, you leave working your 10, 11, and 12, which is what we do for the rest of our lives. But we get that 1 through 9 done, and we identify as recovered, and then go on and grow and learn and take on our lives more than just being sober or off whatever substance.
And teach other people how to do it.
Right. We get new lives, and then we come back and show others. So if you're interested in that, we have a virtual retreat coming up. Go back on our website. There's retreats coming up in 2023. Join us for a weekend retreat, and you can hear that same life-saving message that all of us heard, and the same one that Liz was so diligent to come and help spread. Guys, I just do want to remember that Lisa's posted some links to the videos. The full video of Liz doing the bottle talk is on our YouTube channel. So if you want, you can go on and search our YouTube channel and see that. And there's some other things too that you can find on the YouTube channel. We're nearing our end, guys. Anybody have a last story or two that they we're letting out? There's so many of traveling around, but Stephanie?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention about some of her quotes, some things that she talks about. And the one that is really the most important to me is the love bucket that she talks about in each of us, and how we write on someone's heart with the words that we speak. Liz, you've always taught me about how important it is what I speak out and put out into existence. And I was living in fear one time when I was by myself at home, and I was afraid, and I was alone, and there was some drug dealers across the street, and I was really frightened. And so she had me read the 91st Psalm out loud. And she said, I want you to walk around your house and read out loud the 91st Psalm, but I don't want you to do it just once. I want you to keep reading it. And each time you read it, you're going to read it louder and louder and louder until fear is gone. And I did that. And I got to say, from the time I finished that, fear was gone and it never returned. And it's just so important. But everything that she taught me about writing what we speak to another person is how we write on someone's heart, and how important that is.
I want to share a quickie about our California trip.
Sure.
We flew out there with at least Liz and I, and Debbie Baranska went, actually one of the first ones out there. Grace or Liz was not available, but the next year Liz came and went to this particular facility the guy named Danny Whitmore had put together. And the accommodations were teepees, into which you had at least four people. And so this implemented what some of us recall the Foreman rule of travel. I want to know, as she learned, what kind of accommodations we got. Because when I announced we're moving down the street, she said, I want to go along. We stayed at the Pear Blossom Inn, which was just a cut above a cot. But it was a hell of a lot better than sleeping with 6 other dudes and hearing snoring you would not believe.
Yeah.
Anyway, end of story.
Everybody remembers the Pear Blossom. That's really one of the low points.
And I slept in the teepee. And I remember just being so angry at Steve, who walked in the next day all fresh and clean and happy and slept. And me and John Z and Michael Kohler had slept in the teepee with Danny Whitmore, who is lucky to be alive today after that, believe it or not. Great story, Steve. There's so much time. There's so many things that we could tell of the traveling and things. There's the things I really remember, though, is how powerful she was wherever she went, to whoever she touched at any level. And she never complained.
And the power of the words, and to speak into the prayer what you want to have happen. And that just got to remember that plum, poor little old me. We're not doing the poor little old me. We are speaking the truth. And she taught us that for our family members, because we're so worried about this one, we're so worried. Then just stop talking about what you're worried about. Speak into the world what you want to see. No more plums.
Guys, remember.
I just want to say, Liz, if you're listening, you can tell how much we really love you.
We love
and
you.
I just want to put that out there into the world.
We love you, Liz.
Love you, Liz. To you, Liz. This is what we're talking about, right? Speaking that into being, like our words are seeds that you taught us, right? So I'm sowing the seed of love.
Sowing the seed of love, guys. If you're just joining us, #recovered gets you a chance to win a free entry to the virtual retreat, and you can hear this message too, that we've all heard and that Liz gave hundreds of times around the world. That message that you can be recovered, it can happen quickly, and you can get a wonderful life, one that you have never even dreamed of. So we're getting ready, guys, to wrap up here in a minute. We're going to do the retreat drawing. Stay with me here. We're going to do this retreat drawing and see who wins. And then we got a really special video to walk out on, and we're going to do Liz's Recovery Bill of Rights as she did it live back years ago. But Casera, let's do our
the big Spin.
retreat giveaway. And then we'll bring you guys all back on. We'll do a quick wrap up and then we'll watch that video.
Ooh.
And see how many people we have. All right, we can see it. 12 people entered to see who wins that chance to come in and hear the steps. All right, give it a shot. Now, while it's going, guys, just in the end, we've never turned anybody away because of money. So if you don't win and you still need to come and need financial aid, text us at John McGuire won. There you go,
Oh,
John.
golly.
I'm John.
Yay.
Golf clap.
Golf clap.
Excellent.
All right. John, send us your info in a private chat and we will on
The way
Facebook if you're
home.
on it. And
Mhm.
Lisa will send you a promo code and you can give it to whoever you want or use it yourself to come to the virtual retreat. Again, if you
Perfect
want to
winner
come
for
to the
that.
virtual retreat, you can come, email us, write us. Again, we don't let nobody doesn't get to come because of money. So we'd love to have you all come. Well, it's been a wonderful hour of memories, guys, hasn't it?
Yes.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thinking about
Fabulous.
everything.
Thank
the
you
video
for
was
letting me
great.
participate.
Oh, we're so happy to have you, Kim. It was just so great to see you and to hear those same stories. We've all had so many experiences with Liz, 50 years. Does any of us anywhere know anyone with 50 years sobriety besides her?
Yeah,
Right.
maybe.
I don't.
I'm sure there's someone, but I don't
Yeah.
know them.
And let's
I mean,
just say
Steve's
there's
Close,
Brittany,
isn't-
yeah.
Steve,
more
what are you-
every year. We
Steve's
want to be
getting
there.
Close, isn't he?
Steve's getting close. Yeah, I think, right?
How many?
44.
44. But 50 years, she would be the one left standing when we did the
Mhm.
sobriety countdown
Always.
at like every
Always.
single retreat,
Mhm.
with her. And she lived the program or lives the program right up to this day. And we honor her for her 50 years and all the service she's done for all the hurting and suffering addicts. So I want to thank all you guys for coming on today. And I'd love to, we're going to close with Liz presenting her recovery bill of rights. Guys, she did this at the end of every retreat, especially towards the end. It's really, really special. After that, we're going to be gone. We'll see you guys all next week. Actually, I won't be on next week, but Dee will become. The UK's invading next week.
Oh, good.
So you'll be on with the UK invading. And have a great afternoon. May you start every day doing honest, unselfish, pure, and do everything in love.
Amen.
Everybody have a great weekend. And here we go to the video.
I want to give you the 12 steps of alcoholic recovery. Step number 1, we have the right to choose a life beyond mere survival. God said, I have come that you might have a full, free, abundant life. Life is meant to be enjoyed. We have a right to enjoy our lives. Step number 2, we have a right to say no to anyone or anything at any time. God has made us free moral agents. I set before you. God says this. Pay attention to this because this is for you. I set before you tonight life and death, blessings and cursings. Therefore, I recommend highly that you choose life, that both you and your children will live. That's Deuteronomy 30. We choose courage in life instead of fear and death. Step number 3, we have the right to refuse or take blame where we're blameless. No weapon formed against us shall prosper. Step 4, we have the right to make mistakes. But we have the responsibility of taking the consequences. God says, though you fall, utterly fall, you will not be cast down, because the Lord will uphold you with his hand. Now, step number 5, we have the right to cry when we feel like it. We have the right to all of our feelings, but we have the responsibility of how we express them. God says to show respect to all people, because love never fails. Step number 6, we have the right to terminate conversations with people who put us down or humiliate us. We have the right to refuse needle teasing. We have the right to walk away. We have the right to hang up the phone. Resist the devil and he will flee. Number 7, we have the right to be, this is a good one. Pay attention. We have the right to be healthier than those around us. Now we're going to be talking about the physical body. You are not your own. You have been bought with a price. Your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit. So you honor God with your body. Step number 8, we have the right to be relaxed, playful, and frivolous because the joy of the Lord is our strength. Number 9, we have the right to change. Hopefully we change and grow. We grow from strength to strength, and we grow from faith to faith. Number 10, we have the right to set limits and refuse unhealthy patterns of abuse and conversation. Set those limits. Refuse evil and choose good. And step 11, we have the right to be angry. And we have the right to be angry at someone we love. But understand that retaining that anger is unhealthy. Be angry, but sin not. Don't let the sun go down on your wrath. In other words, make it up that day. Make up quickly. And 12, we have the right to take care of ourselves no matter what relationship we're in, because the Spirit in us is the Spirit of peace. So God grant us the serenity, come on, join me, to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Thank you.